Welcome everyone to the second of the 12 listening sessions for the Virginia Beach Community Engagement Project. This is the first solely virtual session, and I welcome everyone to this meeting. We also want to welcome our City Council officials who are joining us today. My name is Charnel Herring, and with me is Jane Ditmar, and we're part of the University of Virginia Weldon Cooper Center. We at the Weldon Cooper Center are teaming with the city to facilitate this afternoon's meeting. Just and I will repeat this number. It's a phone number that you can call into to make comments, and it is 885-925-2801. Now I'll turn it over to Jane.
Thanks, Charnel. We're so happy that you're joining us today and wanted to explain that our role is to make sure that your voice is successfully heard. There's been a lot of work put into these engagement sessions for listening purposes, and your comments will be captured and factor into a lot of decision making that the City Council has ahead of itself. The technology that we're using today allows for 3-minute comments, and it will technically turn you off after that. So if you've written a longer comment or feel like you need to rethink how to express yourself, you have a few more minutes to do that. The purpose of the meeting, as I said, is for the City Council to have input on some decision making they have ahead of themselves. And they ask that you frame your thoughts around this question or comment. City Council would like to hear from you about your experience with the city's election system, and all are welcome to comment. Now.
Thank you. It's very important that the City Council has everyone's input. Just to give you all some further information, there are 12 sessions that are part of this project, so there will be plenty of opportunity for input. There will be a random sample that will go out, a survey, and people will fill that out. If you did not receive a survey and you would like to fill one out, you can find one on the website. Also, there is an email attached with each meeting. If you want to leave comments that way, you may do so. And again, the number to call in today for comments is 885-925-2801. City Council will later consider everything this summer and looking at the input that's provided by you, the citizens of Virginia Beach. And I would like to just comment and compliment everybody in Virginia Beach. This is an incredible process. I think it's comprehensive, and we're looking forward to hearing from everybody. We do have a video presentation that explains how we got to where we are today.
Prior to 2022, our local election system remained mostly unchanged since 1967. The city charter defined our local election system as having 11 members. 4 were chosen at large with no residency requirement, including the mayor, and 7 more were elected at large, but had to reside within one of the former districts. The charter also stated that school board members would be elected in the same manner as their city council counterparts. In November 2017, a lawsuit was filed against the city. The suit alleged that the at-large system violated the Federal Voting Rights Act by diluting the voting power of minorities. Specifically, the plaintiffs contended that the former voting system diluted the voting strength of a coalition of Black, Hispanic, and Asian minority groups. The city defended the lawsuit, contending that no single minority group was large and compact enough to constitute a majority within a single voting district. The city also asserted that it was not reasonable to combine Black voters with Asian and Hispanic voters, since Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act did not authorize combining minority groups, and that the 3 minority groups specifically mentioned do not vote cohesively as one group. While the lawsuit was pending, the Virginia General Assembly considered and adopted legislation that would require changes to the election system, regardless of the outcome of the case. House Bill 2198 made it so that localities with district or ward-based residency requirements for members of a governing body must elect its members by the qualified members of that district or ward, and not by the locality at large. Further, House Bill 1890 and Senate Bill 1395, known as the Virginia Voting Rights Act, clarified that any at-large method of election shall not be imposed by the governing body in a manner that impairs the ability of a protected class to elect candidates of its choice or its ability to influence an election. Both pieces of legislation also apply to school boards. In March of 2021, the district court said that the city's voting system violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The court concluded that the coalition claims were legally permissible and that the minority groups specifically mentioned in the case were politically cohesive. The court prohibited the city from using the former system in any future elections. Following the March 2021 ruling of the district court, a special master created new election district maps for the city using data from the 2020 census, ensuring they were equally populated. They were drawn in a manner that, in the court's view, would allow a sufficient majority of minority populations to facilitate the election of minority groups' candidates of choice, including the creation of 3 minority opportunity districts. Under the new 10-1 system, 10 city council members and 10 school board members are elected from each of the districts. Only the mayor continues to be elected at large and can reside anywhere in the city. The city appealed the district court's decision to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. In July of 2022, a 3-judge panel ruled that the lower court erred in its decision and vacated the district court's decisions and remedy. This decision left the city free to consider options other than the 10-1 system in future elections. However, it was too late to effectively implement a new system in time for the November 2022 election cycle. In November of 2022, residents went to the polls and cast their votes for the city council and school board candidates of their choice using the 10-1 system that had been ordered by the district court. 161,753 ballots were cast, and the outcome was the election of the city's most diverse slate of representatives. Since the court order that implemented the 10-1 system is no longer in effect, and the former system of electing local representatives is still on the books in the city charter, it became apparent that City Council would need to formally adopt a new method in time for the 2024 elections. In order to ensure that residents had a say in the direction that City Council opts to pursue, they passed a resolution in December of 2022 to begin a community engagement campaign to educate and inform residents on what legally viable options are available for the city. Following the community engagement period, Virginia Beach residents will be asked to participate in a survey in April. A random sampling of residents will receive a survey in the mail. However, an online version will be available to all residents, with results shared with council and the community this summer. In conclusion, a decision on our election system must be made by City Council in time for the 2024 election. Thank you for joining us today. This is your opportunity to provide input on city policy development and decision-making.
So it's been quite a journey so far for those of you that vote in the city of Virginia Beach. The next step in the journey is to take comment on your experience with the Virginia Beach electoral system. Before we do that, I want to reassure you that besides your comments today, we're having transcripts from comments made. Additionally, the video will be kept and we are taking notes. So you can rest assured that not a word will be wasted. Charnel, I'll turn it over to you now.
Well, thank you so much, Jane. Again, the number to call is 885-925-2801. You will have 3 minutes to speak. And if the first speaker can go ahead and introduce yourself, and I ask that every speaker introduce yourself before speaking. Thank you. Hello?
Matthias Paul, South Camp. I'm here today to voice my support for district voting in our community rather than the past voting system that we've had. Let me start by explaining what district voting means. It's a system where jurisdiction is divided into smaller geographic regions, and each region elects its own representative. In contrast, the at-large system that is being explored and has been used in the past allows voters to choose from a pool of candidates to fill all the open seats, regardless of where the candidate lives or works. There are several compelling reasons why district voting is a better choice. First and foremost, it ensures that every community within our jurisdiction has a voice in the political process. And by dividing the jurisdiction into smaller regions, the system makes it easier for people from diverse backgrounds and with varying needs to elect candidates who truly represent their interests. Moreover, district voting promotes diversity in our elected officials. And under another system, it's easier for a dominant group to control the outcome of the elections. In contrast, district voting creates opportunities for candidates from underrepresented communities to be elected. This is particularly important in communities that have been historically marginalized or ignored. District voting also makes it easier for candidates to campaign and connect with voters. By focusing on a smaller geographic area, candidates can spend more time and resources engaging with their constituents. And this makes it more informed electorate and a more responsive government. Finally, district voting can improve accountability. With other systems, it's difficult to hold elected officials accountable for specific issues or policies. And with district voting, voters can more easily identify the representative and hold them accountable for their actions. District voting is a fairer and more democratic system than the others that have been explored. It promotes diversity, accountability, and ensures all voices are heard. In addition, I think we should explore using ranked choice voting in order to further strengthen the officials that are running and weed out a lot of the extremes. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to make clear that the number is 855-925-2801. The next speaker could introduce themselves.
Same house in the Kempsville area for 31 years. I support the 10-1 system that was established by the federal court after its finding that the previous election system, which was in effect since just after the city was established in the 1960s, violated the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965. Under the previous illegal at-large system between the years 1966 to 2018, that's 52 years, only 6 people of color, 5 blacks and 1 Filipino, were elected to the Virginia Beach City Council. Of the 5 black council members, that's 1 per decade, none were reelected. One of those who was not reelected was my city council member, Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond from Kempsville. The voter, when she came up for reelection, she served very well. The voters of Kempsville voted to reelect her. Unfortunately, the balance of the voters from other areas of Virginia Beach citywide were allowed to weigh in and did not vote for her. So those outsiders, in effect, vetoed Kempsville's choice of its representative. That's the problem with the previous illegal at-large system. It leaves certain areas either unrepresented or underrepresented because they don't have their own voice. Under the old illegal system, we recently had 2 city council members, the late Lewis Jones and John Moss, in the Bayside area who lived just a few houses from each other. And that's why we have the crazy line that's drawn in the Bayside area to accommodate both of them and give them a chance at reelection. Under the old illegal system, we had four school board members, also in Bayside, who lived within a mile of each other, 4 in one district that now represents only 10% of the population. That means that 3 other districts in our current system, under the 10-1 system, outside of Bayside, had no school board representation. So those 3 districts should be familiar to you. They're the so-called minority opportunity districts, districts 4, 7, and 10. They had no representation on our school board. Since the implementation of the 10-1 system in just the last year, we've had 5 Black city council members, 5, the same number that we got in 52 years previously. 1 was an appointee, Delcino Miles. We retained incumbent Sabrina Wooten. We have newly elected members Jennifer Rouse, Christopher Taylor, and once again, re-elected from a local 10% system of district of 10% of the voters, the wonderful Dr. Amelia Ross Hammond has returned to council. So now my former very distinguished council member has been restored to her council seat by local residents voting in their individual district for their choice under the 10-1 system, and people from other areas of Virginia Beach cannot veto their choice. In just 1 year of the implementation of the 10-1 system, it has proven to be a fair and effective way of choosing our city council members. It's given us not only more diverse representation in race, in background, but in age, experience, and geography. It allows everybody to be heard.
That's time on that speaker. At this time, we have no additional speakers in the virtual queue. I would just say to anyone who is out there who is dialed in, you can press star to enter the menu and select item 3 to be placed in the virtual speaker queue. Again, that's star, menu item 3. And we have some additional speakers. I will connect them now.
Thank you. If the speaker can introduce yourself. Hi.
Hi, my name's Kathleen Peterson. I'm a resident in the Princess Anne area, Kempsville. I live at Salem and South Independence. I wanted to suggest that for the voting system, we consider within the in-district voting that's been proposed, that we additionally layer in ranked voting of all candidates. That way, if after the voters speak and rank their choices, an unforetold situation evolves where the elected candidate has to withdraw for any reason, personal illness or change of neighborhood, if they decide to move, then we don't have to go through the cost to the taxpayers of running a subsequent election before the normally scheduled election. With ranked voting, we would simply install the voter's second choice from the previous election. That's all I had to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker could introduce themselves. Welcome.
Hi, yes, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I would just like to express my support for the 10-1 system as well. I believe some of the things that the city attorney said during these court hearings was actually quite shameful for the city. The question wasn't about whether Black, Hispanic, and Asians vote the same way politically. It's that they have adequate representation and able to express themselves a representative government that we have. So I would just like to say that some of the arguments that our city attorney has presented in court on behalf of the city is quite alarming to myself and I imagine others. And yes, I think we should keep the 10-1 system. I mean, we allowed David Nygaard to have to leave council because he was not in the correct, residence. But we're trying to keep an old system, some are, to where people from other districts can vote in. And we don't want these influences of other districts to keep doing what they've been doing over the decades. And I think other speakers have already gone much into that. But we've had problems in our city and county over the years with minorities. We are the South. We were the Confederacy. We've had civil rights complaints from the NAACP over the years in our city, in our Commonwealth as well. So we need to be cognizant of our past so we can work on our present to have a better future. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker could introduce yourself. Hello?
The voting and election. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michael Weish. I'm calling in support of the 10-1 system. It brings diversity into the election and voting system to make sure that everyone can get their representation by their district and also hold that person accountable. It also allows for new candidates to also not have too much of a hurdle when it comes to starting up in the process of the first bid for elections. So that is why I do support it and will continue to support it. As well, I would also like to add that there should be an election polling place in the next upcoming election in the Kempsville area, either at like Kempsville Elementary, Middle School, or the Williams Farm Recreation Center. Thank you very much for giving me this time to speak.
Thank you. Do you have another speaker? If you could introduce yourself, and you have the floor.
There are no, oh, I apologize. There is now a speaker. One moment.
One system, because we get to now vote for the person who represents us. And as such, that person is accountable to us. It really doesn't make sense to have people from all over the city voting for our representative, and then that representative not being accountable to us and there for us and a part of what we do day to day and each week, and a part of what we go through. And again, like some of the other speakers have said, this voting system, the 10-1 voting system, has yielded the most diverse council. And I just question why we would ever go away from a voting system where the citizens have spoken about who they would like to represent them in their particular districts, and a voting system that has yielded a diverse council, which means there are diverse voices speaking and diverse perspectives. I am in favor of the 10-1 system, and I pray that our members of council will see that this is the best way for each district to have a voice and to hold our representatives accountable. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no additional speakers in the queue at this time.
Great. we will wait a little bit for if there's any other speaker. And again, the number is 855-925-2801.
We have another speaker in the queue. I will connect them momentarily.
Thank you. And
Hi,
welcome.
I'm disabled and don't have a vehicle, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for including virtual opportunities to contribute to this very important issue. And I hope that we'll be able to vote through the mail for our city council and school board representatives. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no additional speakers at this time.
Right. We'll wait a few minutes as well. All right. Do we have any other speakers? No.
There are no additional speakers in the queue.
All right. Well, thank you. And I just want to thank everybody who did join us and gave their comments. Again, we have 10 more sessions, listening sessions in Virginia Beach. One will be virtual again. As Jane mentioned earlier, comments are being captured. There will be, the city council will review as well as take recommendations on alternatives that they will decide. We encourage you to encourage your neighbors and your friends that maybe were not able to make today or the meeting yesterday. There are other meetings, and so please spread the word. We thank you for joining. Jane, did you want to say anything before we? No, okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.